Aha, I believe that my video now is on. Okay, my video is on. So, guys, welcome again to this segment of ours. This is Advanced Excel, a very interesting skill that if we possess, you'll find that we'll be amongst the few outside here whom, of course, you can stand before people and before, of course, your organization and talk about Excel. Mhm. So, what will you be expected, of course, to understand when we are looking at advanced Excel? Remember, in our first segment, Molimu gave us an introduction of what will be expected to cover throughout our training of advanced Excel. And we shared the document that Molimu mentioned. This is a document that, of course, will guide us. This is a document that will guide us throughout our course. We did a simple illustration or a concept that we did, a very simple thing that we did on our first introduction part, which was on a Saturday. So, of course, I can also reshare the same outline, which we said it will be our guide and one that we'll be using throughout our training. So, what we shared, this was a document or term it as our outline. So, this will be our guide throughout our training of advanced Excel. This will be our guide throughout the training of our advanced Excel. So other than the course objectives, which we mentioned, we should be able to learn how to apply the complex formulas to solve real-world business problem, analyze, of course, and summarize large data sets efficiently. This is what we talked about in our first segment. So today's segment, I want us to start with module number 1. Module number 1, in the previous session, I know you had introduced a bit of it. So today we are going to dive deep and look at it on a very wider perspective, where in module 1, in this case, we'll be looking at key elements, which will include the nested if statements, talk about advanced logical expressions, where we're having, of course, ifs and or aspect of switch. We'll also be talking about the lookup mastery. We need to understand the concept of lookup functions, which will include VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP, index plus match combinations. These are what we'll be considering. So in this class today, I want us to consider the if functions. Remember, we had already introduced partly this concept in our previous segment. So there are documents that, of course, Molimu has shared in the group, and I know all of us, we have the document. Someone, of course, can help Molimu to reshare the document again. Someone can help Molimu to reshare, of course, the document again. Someone can help Molimu to reshare the document. Someone can help Molimu to reshare the document in the group. Someone can help Molimu to share the document in the group. Someone can help Molimu to share the document in the group. Great. So what I want us to handle is the concept of the sum or the aspect of ifs function. So we'll be starting with if functions. We're going to start with, of course, the sum ifs as we progress. So the data that I want us to use, this is the data that I want us to use here, which it has been reshared. And in our result document, if function 1, if function 1, I'm resharing again the document. If function 1, the document has been titled if function 1. The document has been titled if function 1. The same, in this case, I'm resharing the same document. Remember, we said that advanced Excel, what you're doing, it is purely practical. And I am expecting us, anytime that you're attending this training, we should be having our PC with us. That is when you can learn, because it is more of a practical part. It is practical, not theoretical. It is more of a practical part. So I am expecting us at least to be having our PCs with us. That is when we can learn. That is when we can learn. That is when we can learn. So we open that document that we've titled it as if function 1. I want us to dissect some concepts therein. I want us to dissect some concepts therein. So opening our document, you can confirm that you have. Kindly, someone can help Mwalimu to reshare either in the groups or in the chat. Someone can help Mwalimu to reshare the document either in the groups or in the chat. Someone can help Mwalimu to share the document either in the group or in the chat, so that all of us, we should be having that document. And if at all you have access to the document, I need to see a thumbs up. If at all you have access to the document, I need to see a thumbs up. If at all you have access to the document, I need to see a thumbs up. Great, great. If at all you have access to the document, Mwalimu should see that thumbs up. Great, great. Very good. So this aspect that Mwalimu wants to introduce to us, and what I want to introduce to us, this is a not pivot table. You're going to do pivot table later, but the concept of the sum ifs function. So we have the if function. If function, remember, we said that this is a logical function, a very important logical function that will always tend to guide us when we are dealing with these aspects in a practical manner. The concept of if function is very ideal and very important. So what do we need then to learn? Anytime we are to consider the if function. My good students, at this point, you'll always understand or learn at some point that Excel is always about a matter of communicating with it, where we give it instruction to give us what we have requested it to give us. So when we are looking at the concept of if function, all that you want to do, first of all, let me take you back to what you did in your basic level. Remember the aspect of sum function, where we were adding our values together. We are taking our numbers and you're adding them together. These are what we did at our basic level, which we refer to it as what? As simply, of course, summing up, right? If we jump to Excel or advanced part of it, there's that concept that we'll be referring to as the sum if function. So what will sum if function does or do? You'll find in this case, other than it giving us the whole summation of the number, I'll have to set a specific condition. See, I'll have to set a specific condition. I need summation based on what? This is what sum if function will give us. So in our case, this is what I want us to achieve. First of all, we go to the basics. Because we said the concept here is all about, we want to learn about the sum if function. We did the if function when we started, still that can be reshared. So let us go back to the basics and determine the sum function. Let us go back to the basic and look at the sum function. The sum function in our case, having our data here, I want us to determine the total cells. Using the basic function of Excel, I know we can determine the total cells. How will we determine the total cells? Using the basic knowledge that we have. The basic knowledge, we know very well that there are three ways that you can determine the total cells. Number one, either we come at the bottom part and you go to equal sum. Then you drag all the numbers. But because we are at this stage, Mwalimu will show us a very interesting shortcut. Anytime you are in your office or anytime you're analyzing your data and you want to determine the summation of the values that you're having, this one will always be very easy. How will you always go about it? And for those who are taking the notes, you can always make sure that you have this in mind. I'll also share the Excel workbook that contains all these shortcuts. So how will I determine the total of my data without going the traditional way or without going the high school way? This is easy. Come and put your cursor where you need to determine your total. Then at that point, just click Alt equal sign. Alt equal sign. On your keyboard, click Alt, then equal sign, enter. Alt equal sign, enter. You realize that if you click Alt equal sign, it is going to fetch each and every segment that you're having. So that at that point, you just click enter and it will give you the summation. So you are in your office environment or you want to analyze a specific data in terms of summation, you don't want to waste a lot of time. If at all you don't want to waste a lot of time, then it is good to understand some of these shortcuts. It will help us a lot. I repeat, Mwalimu is saying a simple way of determining the total values of our data. Place your cursor where you want to determine the total. Click Alt equal sign. Alt equal sign, then enter. Alt equal sign, then enter. A new skill I know some of you are learning. You never knew about this, but the beauty part is that we are in the session today. So Alt equal sign, this will give us a summation of all that we want. See, this is a basic part that you did. This is a basic part that you did, the sum function. Sum function. Sum function. See, this is a basic part that you did for sum function. For us, we are not interested with that simple component. See? We are, okay, if in this case, James, if at all you're having an empty cell somewhere, all that will be required to do, a very good question. If at all you're having an empty cell somewhere, assuming I'm just going to remove it, but I'm going to have it back. For the purpose of answering James' question, assuming 94, we mark this value somewhere, this is 7,600. Assuming this number, we had an empty cell, which we need to do a data cleaning of the same. So in this case, you'll find that if you do Alt equal sign, it will end there. So what is the easiest way? The easiest way, without hustling or doing anything, scroll to the first bit, which in this case, you can see having our cell, this is C3. So you just come and edit here. You do what? C3. It will fetch all the data, including where you had an empty cell. Then do enter. James, that's the best way that you can always handle it. If at all you just want summation without further cleaning, you just go and edit in our formula bar. You pick the first cell, which in this case, you just type manually the aspect of C3. So, James, that is how you can always go about where you're having what? Empty cells. So, once we have this, our task was not doing, of course, this bit. Our task here, we wanted to achieve the aspect of what? The aspect of sum if. And that is what Mwalimu will want to introduce to us here. Sum if. At what point are we going to use sum if? At what point are we going to use? I think I've explained that, the same question that, of course, James had asked, and I've demonstrated that. We'll go back to there. So when we are talking about the sum if function, what do we need to always make sure that we have in mind? So sum if function will always come about where we are dealing with a specific condition, where I need to determine the summation based on a specific condition. That is what will always be required to understand when dealing with the aspect of what? Sum if. Let us determine a total value of a given data given a specific condition. Say, for example, in our context, we want to determine, using sum if, we want to determine total or monthly sales, summary of monthly sales. In this case, we're using what? The sum if function. Sum if function. We want to determine the summation of our data given what? Given a specific condition. So, in this context of ours, this is what I want us to achieve. I want us to achieve the summary of monthly sales, the summary of daily sales, the summary of quarterly sales using sum if function. So how will we go about it? At this point, my good students, this is our source data. You see this table? This table contains our source data. Containing our source data meaning that at any given point, whenever we'll be working out our computational calculations, we should always be based on the original set. And this set is what you're referring to as our source data. So how will you go about it? At this point, we realize that we need to determine the total sales given the condition is months. So how will we go about it? Mwalimu will try to be as slow as I can at this point. Let us follow this instruction very well. Let us follow these instructions very well. Mwalimu will try to be as slow here. Mwalimu will try to be as slow here, as slow as I can. So we want to determine the total sales given our monthly or given months. So how will you go about it? You come to our months. We can see our months, in this case, we are looking at what? At least 3 data or 3 set. That is Jan, Feb, at least 3 letters. So that is what I want us to do here. We want months. And the months given, we have January, we have Feb. My goodness, you cannot type all up to December. Once you've done for January and February, what you need to do, just come and highlight the 2. Then you see these thick crows that will appear on the bottom left of this cell, on the bottom cell here. See, there are these thick crows that will appear here. See? So if you place it there, there's a thick crow that will appear somewhere here. So this is what we drag. This is what we drag all the way to December. So that at that point, we'll state that at least we have our months from January all the way to December. From January all the way to December. What do we need to achieve? We need to achieve our sales here. We need to achieve our sales at this point. I need us to be very tentative at this point. I need us to be very, very tentative because the next segment you're going to do for Mwalimu. At this point, I need your concentration and I need you guys to be very tentative. How will we go about it? To go about this, we have the following functions. In this case, we talk about what? Equal sign, sum, if. Equal sign, sum, if, tab. You realize that we have our syntax giving us our variables. And the variables that you can see here we can see that we have range, we have criteria, and we have the sum range. Mwalimu will explain to us each and every variable in our syntax here. Mwalimu will explain to us each and every variable in our syntax here. At any given point in time, when you're using the function of SUMIF and you have these variables, these are the explanation where we have range, criteria, and sum range. So when you read about range, what do we mean? When you read about criteria, what will you be looking at? And whenever you're looking at sum range, what will you be looking at? These are the variables in our syntax. So my good students, always when you're looking at the aspect of range, see, so range will simply give us the specific variable that you are considering. This is the range, or in this case, talk about what contains, see, what contains the numbers that you want to add. These are range. What contains the number that you want to add in a very layman's perspective. What contains, these are what contains, of course, the number that you want to add. What contains, the range that contains the number that you want to add. So you read about, in this case, let us say, the range that contains, say, the range that contains the number that you want to add. The number, of course, that you want to add. In a very layman's perspective. The range that contains the number that you want to add. This is what we're referring to as what? The range value or cell that we've seen. We have criteria. Criteria is simply the condition that you want to check. Simply condition that you want to check. This is simply the condition that you want to check. See, this is what we're referring to as what? Criteria. Then, when you're looking at the sum range in this context, my good students, you are looking at, in this case, that is now the aspect of, talk about, in this case, we're about the values. See, values to be added. Like, for example, in our case here, we want to determine the total sales on a monthly basis. So what we do equal sign, sum if tab. So our range, the range that contains the number that we want to add. So in this case, or the aspect or data that you want to consider, in this case, our range is months. See, we are looking at our months. So we come to the point where our months are arranged. We check or we click, we place our cursor there. At this point, I want us to use this simple shortcut. For those who are writing, you can put it down. How will you highlight your data automatically without considering the manual way? Without considering the manual way, for you to highlight your data clearly, all you need to do is to press Control, Shift, Direction where you want to highlight. Like in our case here, we need to highlight all the data in this column automatically. We say we click Control, Shift, Direction because it is down. You see, it will select automatically the data that you want. I repeat the procedure again. The easiest way for you to select your data, imagine you're having like 10,000 rows. You can't be doing this manually. It will waste a lot of time. So the best way is what? Once you placed your cursor on the first range what you want, we've said, all you need to do is simple. Click Control, Shift, and Direction down all at the same time. That is SUMIF, what you want, tab. We place our cursor at this point, Control Shift, direction down, all at the same time. It will highlight for us all the data values aligned on that column. It will highlight for us all the data values aligned in that column. That is again a new trick that Mwalimu has shared with us. So once you've achieved that, all you need to do is to click comma on your keyboard. Comma on your keyboard. Criteria. What is the condition that you want to check? We want to check this data on a monthly basis. So my criteria, we come and select January here. We come and select January at that point. Just pick Jan. Just pick Jan. Or if I told it was one data, you could have just typed into quotes Jan with 3 letters. We do comma again. The other key element that we want to achieve is the aspect to do with our what? Sum range. The values that we want to achieve the total of. We want to achieve the total value of cells. So again, we come to cells. We come to cells. Use our shortcut. Control Shift direction down. It will highlight for us, regardless of how many, of course, rows that you have. It will highlight for us each and every bit. See. So I want us to make sure that we've achieved that. So the next element is to simply click enter. The next element is to simply click enter. Where you're not achieving, kindly don't hesitate. You tell Mwalimu, to be honest, mimi hapa nimeona giza totoro. So we are achieving on this data set, regardless of if at all I was dealing with almost 10,000, 100,000 rows. I can easily be able to say that in the month of January, out of the data that I was given, in the month of January, we made a total sales of 34,000. In the month of January, we made a total sales of 34,000. We made a total sales of 34,000. So for the last time, Mwalimu is redoing this again so that we all be on the same page. We said we are using SUMIF function. SUMIF function will help us to pick specific total given a certain criteria. Our criteria, we've agreed, we want to determine our total sales on a monthly basis. And to determine the total sales on a monthly basis, we have our data here. So what are we going to use? We have only one condition that we're considering here. So we use the SUMIF. How do you go about it? Let us follow this procedure again, step by step for the last time. We said, in this case, what we do, on where we want our data, we do equal sign. On your keyboard, we just type SUMIF. When SUMIF appear, we just do what? Tab. We look at our range. Where do we want to collect this set? This is on a monthly basis. So we come to our months and we place our cursor on the first data. Mwalimu has shown us a shortcut. How will we highlight all the data in a specific column on a table? To highlight all the data in a specific column on the table, what we do is we click Control Shift direction down. You doing this all at the same time. Control Shift direction down. It will highlight for us all the data. Once that has been achieved, we do comma. criteria. What is the condition that you want to check? The condition that you want to check here is months. So you select months. And in that case, you just pick it like that. If I told you to type, you can type in quotes. Then you do comma. Then you do comma at this point. The sum range. What do we want? We want to sum up the total sales. Where is my sales in our source data? Our sales in our source data, it is at this point. So you come and click at that point. You do what? Control, Shift, Direction, down. It will highlight for us all the data that you want in that specific column. Then you do what? Enter. Kindly, if you're achieving this, I need to see a thumbs up. Isikie mwalimu hapo anafanya vitu peke yake. If already you're achieving this, I need to see a thumbs up. I need to see a thumbs up. I need to see a thumbs up if I told you you're achieving this. Very good, very good, very good. Great. That is good. That is very good. Showing that mwalimu hapo apigi kelele peke yake. We are getting this. That is very good. That is very, very good. So once you've achieved this, my good students, mwalimu will also want to introduce to us a very important element, even when you're doing this in your workplace. You know, Excel is like, we take it like a human being, you're communicating with it. So once we do this, we need to command to tell Excel that kindly Excel maintain the same formula all through the months. Kindly Excel maintain the same formula all through our months. You are communicating now with Excel. You are communicating with Excel. So what are we going to learn next? The next important factor that I know probably majority of us don't know, this is what I want us to learn. How do we lock our cells? Talking about locking the cells or freezing your cell. Locking or simply freezing what? Our cells. The essence of us locking or freezing the cell is to simply to tell Excel that, you know what, kindly Excel, I want you to maintain this specific formula throughout my work. That is the essence of locking or freezing Excel. Now, this again is the next step that I want you guys to be very tentative. I want you guys to pay attention here very well. This is one of the most important steps that we'll be using all through. And probably for those who are doing CPA, later on you'll be doing your BDA, you'll find that these are the essential skills that will be required to have. So let us come to our data. You see where we clicked our data? Let us come to where we go, the 34,000. I want us to lock or freeze where we had the ranges. The range will not change. The range will remain to be constant. So what I want us to do is to lock this range, to simply freeze the range. How will you go about it? I want us to come and highlight. You can use your keyboard, Shift, Direction, to select the specific range. See, like in our case, I am selecting the first range, which was month. That was, of course, was E3 to 102. So you do what? You highlight where we had the range. How are we highlighting? You can either use your mouse directly, like that, or simply, while there, you can do Shift, Direction, that is to highlight this specific range. Once you have highlighted the range, this is what I want you to do. On your keyboard, click F4. On your keyboard, click F4. F4, functional key number 4, F4. If you click F4, the dollar sign will appear to tell you that what you've done, you've locked your cells. Alternatively, if F4 is not working independently, what you can do on your keyboard, click Fn plus F4 at the same time. On your keyboard, click F4 or rather Fn and F4 at the same time. If at all F4 is not working independently, these dollar signs must appear. See, the dollar signs must appear. We say the first procedure, you highlight your data. And this data that you are highlighting in our formula bar is the range, the first range you are highlighting. You shift direction where you want to highlight. You click F4. If F4 is not working independently, we've said you can do Fn plus F4 at the same time. Fn plus F4 at the same time. We go to the next part. Again, you highlight, shift direction, you highlight at that point. Again, what do you do? Repeat the same procedure. You click F4. You click F4. You click F4. Let me see. Carbon, great. You've got it now. I've repeated it on the other item. You said you highlight your range. Like currently, as it is now, let me remove, let me unfreeze the data first. So ideally, as it is now, this is how our data is. See, as it is now, this is how our data is. Again, for the last time, Mwalimu is repeating this. We said, what do? You come to our case, shift direction where we want. On our case, my direction is right. Once I have highlighted our range, we click F4. If at all F4 is not working independently, you click Fn plus F4 on your keyboard. You can see Fn, you click Fn plus F4 on your keyboard, all at the same time, all at the same time. So the dollar sign will appear. The next element here we want to do, we want to lock or freeze this other range. So we highlight where we want to freeze, then you click F4. That will simply lock our data. Then you do what? Enter. Then you click what? Enter. So once that has been achieved, it will be a simple task here. We just need to drag. See, you just drag. If you drag, then you'll find that it will give us for each and every month, instead of us doing it manually, we can simply use this simple function to tell us that in our data, in the month of January, this was our sales. In the month of February, this was our sales. In the month of March, this was our sales. We have our data set. So that if at all you can come and determine the total, Mwalimu has guided us on how to go about the total. How do you go about the total using our shortcut? Alt equal sign, we get our total. Alt equal sign, we get our total. Mwalimu had shown us this shortcut. So this is what we are having. Kindly, if at all you feel you still need an assistance, ask your question right now. Because the next task, you're going to do it for Mwalimu. Habon, where are you lost? Habon, where are you lost? Habon, where are you lost? Great. Let me see. James, you're getting different values. Remember, there are so many ways that the reason why you can get different values. September. So September, Irim, what are you getting? But James, your total is that. For 19, you're getting for 19,800. James, okay. The shortcut for sum is alt equal sign, alt equal sign, alt equal sign, alt equal sign. So the reason why you might be getting 0, this could be one of the reasons. See what will happen. Mine, or according to our data set, we are having March, for example, or in this case, we can see like September, you're getting 0, Mr. Okay. So September, you're getting 0. Why? The moment I have T here, it will change everything. Look at this case. The moment you have T here, it will give you 0. Because according to your data set, we don't know September, sept. We know SEP, 3 letters. The moment you add the fourth letter, then you are going to get 0 here. The moment you add another letter, you're going to get 0 there. So what do you need to do? Make sure that it is according to our data set, 3 letters for the months. See, the moment you get, say, like January or maybe March or April, I type it in full. See, it will change everything. It will literally change everything. Why? Because you are not communicating as what Excel is giving us. According to my source data, my letters are 3. But for you, you're communicating a different language. You're giving it 4 letters. So definitely, it will give us a whole different value. See, but the moment you put 3 letters, definitely you should be achieving that. That could be one of the errors that you're doing. The other bit, in this case, yeah, great. You see, Mr. Imo, I think that was the error that you're making. Another case, if you do this mistake, the moment you lock remember, why are we locking? We are locking because these values are the same. The range value is the same. But the moment you lock the range, the moment you lock your criteria, you'll get same values all through. See, the moment you lock your criteria, see, the moment you come and lock your criteria here, see what you're going to get. If you make a mistake of locking the criteria, meaning that your values will be the same all through. Why? Because you are telling Excel that Excel, give me the same formula all through, including what? Including the months. That's why you'll find that your value will be the same. Alternatively, if you don't lock, what will be the results if you don't lock? The moment you decide that, you know what, times some Excel will give you the same. But the moment you don't lock, this will be your results. See, in this case, the moment you don't lock, assuming we've not locked this data, the moment I drag, you'll find that many a times it will be picking. Say, for example, look at this case. I want you to see something. Here. The moment you don't lock, see what will happen. Assuming I click for March or April. You see, the moment you click for April, it has left the data on top blank. It has not selected that data. Because you tell the Excel that you continue. Don't maintain the same formula. The moment you come and click June, you realize that, you see, all this data here, they have not been placed in our formula. In this case, what Excel has done, it has literally gone to the next sheet. The reason why it is always very important for us to lock our cells. And we've said very simple and very easily, to lock, you just highlight, then you do what? F4. If F4 is not working out correctly, you do Fn plus F4 at the same time. Fn plus F4 at the same time. See? So that in this case, you realize that there'll be a difference. Yeah, good. I can see guys have corrected the mistake that you're making. That is very good. You see, the moment I click June, for example, I have commanded Excel to fetch each and every data. So there's no chance of making a mistake. There's no chance of making a mistake. There's no chance of making a mistake. So that is very good. I can see majority have achieved that. The next element, I want us to go and do a summary of daily sales. What we've done was monthly sales. I want us to do a summary of daily sales. Days, so we have days here, and we have what? Our sales. Similar procedure. Your data must tally. Your data must tally with what you have in your source data. Like for days, for example, if you check our days, again, we have 3 letters. If you check our days, we have 3 letters. That is to say, also at this point, make sure that our days are in 3 letters. And how do you go about it? We have MON, 3 letters. Tuesday, TUE, according to our source data. So once I'm through with that, of course, we can always tend to do what? You can always tend to drag this all through up to Sunday. Up to Sunday. So I want you guys to give me the total sales on a daily basis. Using SUMIF, give me the total sales on a daily basis. Give me the total sales on a daily basis. The first person to get that right, Mwalimu is buying supper right now. The first person to get that right, Mwalimu is buying supper right now. The first person to get that right, Mwalimu is buying supper right now. Using the same procedure. Using the same procedure. Using the same procedure. Whoever is getting that first, Mwalimu is buying supper right now. Mwalimu is buying supper right now. Rispa, what is 15,100? I need the total. Rispa, give me the total. Give me the total. The first person to get that right now, Mwalimu is buying supper. You just share your number. Mwalimu will send supper immediately. Mwalimu will send supper immediately, right now. Give me the total. Solomon is giving us a total of 794,800. Remember the total must tally to 496,800. The total must tally to 496,800. The first person to get that one right, and you share the screenshot, Mwalimu is buying supper right now. Mwalimu is buying supper right now. Mwalimu is buying supper right now. The first person to get 93,100. I need the total. Give me the summation here. And that is to say, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all should be the same. And you share your screenshot. Mwalimu wako kwa M-Pesa, anangoja tu kuweka number. Mwalimu is on the M-Pesa, is just waiting to input the number. Mwalimu is just waiting to input the number. Mwalimu is just waiting to input the number here. Share the screenshot. I can see James 581,700. Let me see what you're going to give Mwalimu. 476,100. 476,100. Where are we making the mistake? Where are we making the mistake? Where are we making the mistake? 108. 108. Where are we making the mistake? Mwalimu is on M-Pesa right now. Mwalimu is on M-Pesa right now. Okay, let us see. Why don't you guys want Mwalimu's dinner? Yeah, you don't want Mwalimu's dinner right now. Same procedure applies. See, same procedure applies. Make sure that we are very accurate in this. Follow this. No one has given Mwalimu. No one has given Mwalimu data here. No one has given Mwalimu data here. So this is what you're doing. This is what you're doing, my good students. This is what you're doing. What that will be required to do here is simple. 993, 993, not really. Yani hakuna mtu anataka safa hapa jamini. Hakuna mtu anataka safa. Hakuna mtu anataka dina. Ni sawa, umekataa dina ya mwalimu. Yeah? Kindly let us follow this procedure. Well, James Esho is sharing a screenshot. Let me see. 496. So it is James and Ijaka. Ijaka, you've not done it manually. Ijaka, you've not done it manually. Okay, that is good. That is good. I can see that is very good. That is very good. You guys have not done it manually, right? I can see James and Ijaka. Okay. So you guys have Mwalimu Sapa. That is 5. James, meaning that your value is not correct. I don't know why. Let us see. So right now I'm having Ijaka is the one who has provided us with a screenshot. Let us see. Kindly follow this step and don't mistake for the quarterly as well. Kindly let us follow these steps together. Okay, let us follow these steps together. Let us follow these steps together. Wilson, you're the one who gave. Where is the Wilson? Where is your screenshot, Jameni? Mwalimu wants to be very fair here. Where is your screenshot, Wilson, Jameni? Wilson. Very good, very good. No worries. I'm buying you 2 lunch. I'm buying you 2 supper. Wilson and Ijaka, you have Mwalimu's dinner right now. This is what you're doing. Equal sign, sum if, we've said, tab. Our range. In this context, now, our range, we're looking at days. And for days, what have we said? You click at that point, Control Shift direction down. That is a new shortcut that we've learned today. That's a new shortcut that we've learned today. So out of that case, we do what? Comma here. Criteria now is our days. So you come and select our days, which in this case, the first one is Monday. We do comma here. Our sum range, we want the total values. So we come to the cells, Control Shift direction down. That is a shortcut that Mwalimu has shared with us, which we must be very good at as at now. So after that case, what do we need to do? We only need to do what? Enter. So this will give us for Monday. What has Mwalimu taught us? We need to lock our data. To lock, in this case, we lock our range. By locking our range, we highlight F4. You come to where we had another range, you highlight F4. Then you do what? Tab. Or in that case, enter. So once that has been achieved, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. So we just drag it all through. Say, we just drag it all through. So that as at the end of the day, if we get summation, by right now I know you have mastered the shortcut of determining the total, yeah? Else equal sign. See, we must get the same values here. So we have Wilson, noting Wilson and Ajaka. Wilson, share your M-Pesa number. Ajaka, share your M-Pesa number right now. You can share on chat. So that what I want you guys to do now, do for Mwalimu quarterly sales. do quarterly sales for Mwalimu, where we have quarter and we have what? Our sales here. Quarter and we have our sales. Quarter and we have our sales. So Jaka M-Pesa number. I hope no one has renamed his number to no one has renamed himself or herself to the to Wilson and Jaka to share the number. Very good. James, why are you getting different values? If at all you do it right, you should be having the same values. If at all you do it right, you should be having the same values. Kindly recheck it. Kindly recheck it. James, we should be having the same values. What are you getting? What values are you getting, James? What values are you getting, James? What values are you getting, James? We should be having the same values. We should be having the same values. If at all you follow the procedure right, we should be having the same values. So meanwhile, the rest can be doing for quarterly sales. The rest can be doing for quarterly sales. The rest can be doing for quarterly sales. Rest can be doing for quarterly sales. Rest can be doing for quarterly sales. Let us see what you can achieve for quarterly sales. Let us see what you can do for quarterly sales. Let us see what you can do for quarterly sales. Let us see what you can do for quarterly sales. Remember, the total sales must be equal. The total sales must be equal to what we've achieved. The total sales must be equal to what we've achieved. 496,800. I want Wilson, confirm your dinner. Imefika ama bado hujafika? I can see now HP has given us a value. Great. Yimu is giving us a value. That is good. You see now you've gotten it. Very good. Very good. I can see you're achieving that. Ijaka, confirm your dinner. Is giving me something, James. In this case, it was Good. So quarterly says I can see majority are achieving. That is very good. Very good. Quarterly says I can see you are achieving. That is very good. That is very good. That is very good. Jaka's confirmed the dinner. That is very good. So this is what you're doing. Remember, same procedure applies, by the way. We have quarter one. We have quarter two. In this case, because it's simple, you can just do up to quarter four. See? Quarter three and quarter four. This is what you're having. Similar procedure applies, my good students. How do you go about it? Equal sign, sum if, of course, tab. The range, this time round, the range is quarters. Control shift direction now down. By now, you should be perfect on that. Comma, what do you want to achieve? These are the quarterly that we're looking at. Comma here. And the total, we want the total sales. Control shift direction down. So that as at the end of the day, what are we going to do? We click enter and we lock what will not change. So we lock F4. We come here, we lock. In this case, we do what? F4. So this is what you're achieving. This is what we have. This is what we have. So that as at the end of the day, we can drag with a lot of confidence, knowing that we are achieving the same values. See? So the moment we drag like that, and we do the total, Alt equals sign. That's the shortcut that we've learned. 496,800. Very good. So this is sum if. If you've gotten the concept, I need to see the thumbs up there. Thumbs up. Very good. Ijaka, very good. Yeah. If I told you you're getting Mwalimu, kindly let me see your thumbs up. If I told you you're learning something new that you didn't have, I need to see a thumbs up. Yeah? I need to see a thumbs up. Yeah? Encourage Mwalimu. Mwalimu should know that he's guiding. Mwalimu should know that he's giving you guys a difference. Very good, very good. Great, great. Very good. So once we've achieved that, we go to the next task. In this case, we are dealing or we are looking at where we have one condition. Where we have one condition. Sum if. Sum if. This document, I'm going to share it. So the next part, let us go to what Mwalimu had shared earlier on. This document that we've called it sum ifs. Check the document that we've called it sum ifs. It was shared, and I'm going to reshare it again. Let me share this document. The document is called sum ifs. Let me reshare it. No worries if I told you hadn't received it earlier. I'm resharing this document again. I'm resharing this document again on chat. Hiya, confirm you've received that document. Confirm you have received that document. Thumbs up or received. You can type whether received or a thumbs up. I need to make sure that you guys, you received that document. Either thumbs up or I need to see a thumbs up or received. I've shared it on chat. I've shared it on chat. I've shared it on chat. Great. That is very good. So I want us to work with that data now in our second task. Our second task is very important. Our second task is we are going to apply the same knowledge that we've studied about the aspect of sum if, but right now I want us to consider multiple conditions. I want us to consider multiple conditions. This is a document that we've shared. This is a document that Mwalimu has shared with us. So you are engaged or you are in that office, you need to do a summary of sales. And in this case, probably, why? Because you need to give a specific salesman a commission, or simply you want to increase, of course, the value in terms of where should we or whom should we increase the salary, or you want to compute commission. There could be so many reasons why you will be required to do what? To do some of these tasks. There are so many reasons. So what I want us to consider now is sum ifs. Using sum ifs function. This is sum if function. Kindly for those who have joined with phone, as I mentioned earlier on, this session will be purely practical. Those who have joined with phone, kindly, Mwalimu had mentioned that these sessions will be purely practical. And while you're doing what Mwalimu is doing, that is when you're going to learn. So make sure that next time you join with your laptops or PC, this is a very critical skill that Mwalimu is sharing with us. This is a very critical skill that Mwalimu is sharing with us. So make sure that anytime you join, you have your PC with you for you to learn very well. So what about sum ifs, my good students? Anytime we are considering the sum ifs, in this case, we find that we want to add numbers based on more than one condition. We want to add numbers based on more than one condition. So the concept of aspect of sum if will apply. So this time round, we'll be looking at more than one condition. So this is what I want us to do. In the data that we've shared, I want us to achieve this element. I'll just post it as a question here. Let us have it. You can be told by your CFO, or you can be told by your manager, or even it is your business that you're running. You want to determine say like in our context here, let us have this. I want us to find the total units that were sold in East region. Because in this case, you can see we have our date, we have region, we have representatives, we have our item units. What I want us to achieve, this is something that you can type very easily. This is something that you can type very easily. We want to determine the total units that were sold in East region. The total units that were sold in East region. This is what I want us to achieve. So in this context, you can see we have two conditions. And the conditions that we are looking at is, and majorly these will also help for those who are doing maybe project management, or maybe you're somewhere there, you'll find that doing project management or part of analysis, this knowledge is literally for you now. So we have conditions, and conditions we have the following. The first condition is units. The second condition is region, which is East region. See, East region. So these are the two conditions. These are the two conditions that we want to look at. Actually, in this case, this is SUMIF. In this case, this is not a good question for this is SUMIF, because in this case, this is a total. So many these are sum range. I want a case where we can have these are sum range, and this is of course our criteria. This is not SUMIF. Let us look at a question which has SUMIF. Maybe we can add something here. Maybe you can add something here. So this is something that you can do. This is SUMIF. Talk about SUMIFs, consider probably what? Let us look at this scenario, maybe where we're having, say, like, considering the same case, we can determine, we can add maybe a question here. This is SUMIF. That is simple. Mwalimu is giving us very simple task, and yet we are passed here. Mwalimu is giving us very simple task, and yet you're passed here. But still, we can determine that. So let us have this question here. This is now the SUMIF question. The total revenue generated from the central region where the item is pencil. This is a good part for, this is a good question for SUMIFs, because in this case, we have two elements, and in our context here, we have the first criteria. We have our criteria here. The first criteria you can see is the first case is region. This is a good question now, region. And the other criteria here, we want to determine item, which is pencil. This is a good case. So we have an item and we have region. Two conditions. Two conditions here. So in this case, region, we have central. So my good students, I want us to do the first part. The first case, this is SUMIF. Why are we saying this is SUMIF? Because we only have one criteria, which is East region. The second case is SUMIFs. Why? Because we have two criteria. This is how you can differentiate between SUMIFs and SUMIF. I need someone to give Mwalimu the first one. Find the total units that were sold in East region. Very fast, very fast. Let me see what you're going to give Mwalimu. The total units that were sold in East region. So I know here, probably, let Mwalimu do that because I've not shown you how to add a text in our syntax. So kindly, let us follow this procedure with Mwalimu. Let us do this together. Let us do this together. The same concept of SUMIF will apply. So equal sign SUMIF. This one condition. What is our range? We can see our range is based on our criteria, right? Which is region. So we come to region. We come to region here. This is our region. See, use the shortcut. Control Shift Direction down. Use the shortcut that Mwalimu has guided us. Control Shift Direction down, comma. Because right now I am having one element and it is a text that we want to input. Kindly be very tentative on these steps, my good students. Be very tentative here. Be very tentative here. We want to input a text in our syntax. Later on, when you will also be looking at VBA, always make sure whenever we are inputting a text in our syntax, you have to use what? Opening quotes. So what are we having? My criteria is east. So you type what? East. It should be exactly the same as what is being displayed in your source data. East. You close that quote, comma. Sum range. What do we want to determine a total of? We want to determine the total here is units. So these are sum range. The total here is units. These are sum range. So we go to units. Again, use a shortcut. Control Shift Direction down. Use a shortcut. Control Shift Direction down. You do what? Enter. You do what? Enter. If you're achieving this, I need to see a thumbs up. If you're achieving this, I need to see a thumbs up. If at all you're achieving this, I need to see a thumbs up right now. Mwalimu will repeat again. If you're achieving this, I need to see a thumbs up. If at all you're achieving this, I need to see a thumbs up. So Mwalimu is going to repeat this one right now. Mwalimu is repeating this right now. We've said, at this point, we have a criteria, and the criteria given here is one item, and therefore we need to input a text. We need to input a text in our syntax. So how will you go about it? To go about this, again, Mwalimu is redoing this. You see the knowledge that we've just learned right now under SUMIF. That is what we are going to apply here. Equal sign, SUMIF tab. Okay? What is our range? Our range is where our criteria falls. And therefore, my range, we come to region. Under region, what do we need to do? Under region, you place your cursor there. Control Shift Direction down. It will highlight. Right now, you should be expert on this shortcut that Mwalimu has guided us. You do what? Comma. Because my criteria is in text format, how do you input a text in your syntax? To input a text in our syntax, we open the quote, we type exactly the way it is, east. That is what we are looking at. And make sure east is the right spelling as what it is in our source data. You close the quote, comma. This time round, in our syntax, we are supposed to input the sum range. Our sum range is the units. So you come under units, you do what? Control Shift Direction down. Enter. See? This is what we're achieving now. So where we are sitting, or if at all we are analyzing this data, we can easily say that, you know what? The total number of units that we sold in East region, we had 691 units. The total number of units that we sold in East region, we can confidently say that we had what? 691 N91 units. That is what we need to have. Higher. We go to a situation where we are having two criteria. We're having two conditions. How will you go about a case where we are having two conditions? Kindly, my good students, at this point, follow this step with Mwalimu very well. In this case, remember, so long as the aspect is most of the at times for certain Excels, the case won't matter so long as the spelling is right for some Excel, but it's always advisable we put exact match what you're having in our source data. Great. So in this case, we're having two conditions. I think I've answered yeah, Irimu and James. We say like for some Excels, depending with your Excel, at times case are sensitive. So long as the spelling is right, case sensitive won't be considered. But it's always good to do what? To use what is in your source data. So in this case, we want to go about having two criteria. Again, follow this step with Mwalimu kindly. Let us be very tentative here. Total revenue. Our sum range is revenue generated from central region where the item is pencil. We have two criteria. I want to determine specific revenue in central region where we sold what? Pencil. Your boss has given you 1 minute to give him the results. Your boss has given you 1 minute to give him the results. This is easy, my good students. How will you go about it? Equal sign, okay? Sum ifs. Sum ifs. Equal sign, sum ifs. We are adding an S because we are dealing with more than one criteria. We're dealing with more than one condition. Tab. Sum ifs, we are adding an S. We are adding an S. Dealing with more than one criteria, we are adding an S. We are adding an S. That is very important to note. We are adding an S. So how will you go about it? Sum range. What is a sum range? A sum range is revenue. So we go to our revenue here. Use the shortcut that Mwalimu has guided us. And that's why it was essential for you to have mastered that shortcut on the first case. So our sum range in this case is revenue. Control Shift direction down. Control Shift direction down. You do what? Comma. Comma. Criteria range 1. Our first criteria, we can see it is what? Region. Our first criteria, we can see it is what? Region. So our criteria range 1, we go to our region. Use a shortcut that Mwalimu has guided us. Control Shift direction down. Control Shift direction down. We do comma again. What are we looking at? Criteria. In our criteria, our focus is central. Remember, right now we are just communicating with Excel. So Mwalimu has mentioned, anytime you are inputting a text in our syntax, it has to have an opening quote. So we place opening quote. We type what? Central. Close the quote. Central, close the quote. We do what? Comma. We do what? Comma. I'm trying to be as slow as I can here. So let us follow the procedure step by step. The next bit, if at all you can check your syntax, it is showing us criteria range 2. Criteria range 2, we want to look at an item which is pencil. So that is to say, my criteria range is items. So we go to our items here. Control, Shift, direction down. Control, Shift, direction down. We have our range highlighted. Comma, what do we or what are we looking at in this specific range? We are looking at pencil. Again, these are text in our syntax, open quote. You type what? Pencil, pencil, pencil. You close our quote. You close our quote. The next thing that you need to do is a magic touch now. Click enter. Click enter. You see what you're having. Click enter. Ah, someone had gone all through. That is very good. That is very good. Nineteb has gone all through. Very good. So this is what we're achieving here as what? As our total revenue in central region. Total revenue is central region. If at all you're achieving, I need a thumbs up. If at all you're achieving, I need to see the thumbs up. Thumbs up, very good, very good. Very good. That is how you're learning. That's how you're learning. Now, let us add something to this question. Let us add a very, let us add a good ingredient in this question. I want you guys to do this for Mwalimu. I want you guys to determine the total revenue. Now, let us look at all this region. Central, West, East. Let me see. You are given 1 minute to do this. Determine the total revenue generated from this region and the item was pencil. Determine the total revenue generated from this region and the item here is pencil. And the item is pencil. Very fast, do that for Mwalimu. Someone to give Mwalimu that very fast. Someone to give Mwalimu that very fast. Someone to give Mwalimu that very fast. Very, very fast. Similar procedure. Pencil. Let me see. Don't like do it one by one. Use the shortcut that Mwalimu had guided us. Yeah. Use now, like our knowledge is progressing. Yeah. So use similar concept that we did for SUMIF, where we had different elements. Do it now for what? For this case, SUMIFs. This is something that you can do within 1 minute. I know. You can do this within 1 minute. I know. That's how Mwalimu trusts us. We can do that within 1 minute. That's how Mwalimu trusts us. I know. Give Mwalimu something, tafadhali. Give Mwalimu something, tafadhali here. Let me see what you're going to have. Give Mwalimu something. I should be having at least 3 or 4 people who has given us something. By now, I should be having at least 3 or 4 people. Mr. Irimun right now is very fast. That is very good. He's very fast. So West 24, of course. 24. Central. Why are you getting different value for central? Remember, we're looking at pencil. For central, it should be exactly the same as what we determine here. I'm not sure you're getting a different value. Let us see. Should be having the same value. So central will literally be your benchmark to know if at all you've worked it out right or not. Mr. Irimu, kindly check it out. Mr. Irimu, kindly check it out. Kindly check it out. Kindly check it out, Mr. Irimu. Your benchmark should be central. 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 Let me widen it for you, increasing the font. Your benchmark should be central. Use similar knowledge that Mwalimu had guided us earlier when you were looking at, of course, the SAMIF. Use that knowledge. Solomon is giving us that. Rispa amekataa Mutebi kabisa. Ama hiyo ni la kitambo. Okay. So in this case, remember your benchmark should be central. Solomon is giving us that value. I need one more person. One more person to give Mwalimu that. One more person to give Mwalimu that. Mr. Irimu has corrected that. Okay. I'm so happy seeing you guys identifying the errors that you made and you're correcting it. You're making Mwalimu to be very happy, meaning that you're learning. That is very good. And that is the objective. And that's the objective. Rispa wapi yako. Rispa wapi yako. Rispa wapi yako. It was a typo. Okay. Mutemi amejitetea. Good. Let us see. Remember, the knowledge is progressing, yeah? So what we are saying here, we simply do some ifs right now because we are dealing with multiple criteria, so it is some ifs. Sum range, we know it is our total revenue. This will not change. Control shift direction down. Okay. The next element here is comma. Criteria range 1. The first criteria in this case we are dealing with is what? Region. So we come to our region, control shift direction down. See, control shift direction down. We do what? Comma here. What are we looking at? Because now we've typed central, so I'll just select central. There's no need of us typing it again. Then comma. Criteria range 2 is our item. And therefore, we come and highlight our item here all through. So what are we going to do? Of course, comma, that specific item that we want. There are various ways that you can do. You can either type it manually, or because we have typed it here, you can just select. But let us consider we type it manually here. Pencil. We close that. So that I know very well, because things will be changing, I need to lock all our ranges. I need to lock all our ranges. So we come and lock our range. F4, Mwalimu has guided us on how to go about locking. We lock our ranges. F4. Once that has been achieved, all I need to do is to drag it down. See, all I need to do is to drag it down. So that in this case, it will give us the west, it will give us for east. See, so what we've done, we've simply determined, of course, our total revenue where item was pencil. And later on, if at all you go deep into the analysis, guys, you realize that you might be required, and this is what I want you guys to do, and make sure you share it in the group. I want you guys to do for Mwalimu the total revenue that we sold in this region, given the item, number 1, blender, or rather binder, we have desk, we have pen set, and we have pen. So what I want you to do is this. Give for Mwalimu these areas here. See, I need you to give for Mwalimu the total item that the total revenue that we sold in this region, given the item was binder, desk, pen set, and pen. Do that and share in the group. Also, in addition to that, more, we say this is practical. So Mwalimu will give us assignments and a lot of projects to work on. So also, I'll want you to determine, in this case, let me see if this, this is just a challenge. This is just a challenge. You try work it out. In addition to that, add this to your list of assignment. How many units did John sell, excluding pencil? See, now we are going into analytics, by the way. We are jumping into analytics. So I want you to determine how many units did John sell, excluding pencil item. Excluding pencil item. Linda, where will you want Mwalimu to repeat kindly? Linda, unataka Mwalimu arudie wapi? Determining the same total sales. Remember, Linda, we just use the sum ifs, whereby these are our formula. See, sum ifs, the criteria, the same case we are done on the first component, only that right now we are not typing. We are not typing. We're not typing. The number of pencils from Central. Linda, check this. We'll also allow Mwalimu to share this. I can see I'm also having another segment almost here. But for the sake of Linda, this is what you need to do, Linda. See, the first case, for example, this one that we've done for Central, just a quick one. Just a quick one. This is what you're doing, Linda. You do equal sign, we're having the sum ifs. See, tab, sum range we said is a total revenue. So Control Shift direction down. Okay. We do comma here. Our first criteria range. The first criteria range, that is our region. So you go to region, Control Shift direction down. We do comma, specific item you are looking at. We select the central part here, comma. The second criteria is pencil. Pencil is under item. So Control Shift direction down. Okay. Comma. You can pick that pencil or you can type the pencil in that case, whereby you're having opening quote, pencil, okay, close quote. So that once you have that case, simply do what? Enter. Linda, that's how you're achieving it. So I'm also going to share the video for us to have it, for us to have the same. Okay, great. So in this case, make sure the advantage is that you're making sure that what you're achieving the exact scenario or problem that you want to solve. Or simply you can just pick. You can just pick as well, Mr. Wirimu. You can just pick pencil directly. You can just pick pencil directly. So at this point, guys, we meet in our next segment for Advanced Excel. And make sure that you do this assignment. I want to see what you're going to present in your workings. Share your assignment in the group. I want to see what you guys will have done. So at this point, thank you so much. Our next class of Advanced Excel is as per our table. Next segment, of course, just an overview of QuickBooks, which you are still late, but you're going to do something in QuickBooks just right after this. So you guys have a very wonderful night, and I hope you guys have learned. For those who have not joined us yet, make sure that you do what? Make sure that you reach out. Make sure that you reach out. The number is there, 0708 068 851. Make sure that you reach out because this was our last free session for Advanced Excel. The next session, only those who have paid ushuru, wale wenye wamelipa ushuru, they're the one who are going to attend. So make sure you join this great team. And Mwalimu is going to share all that he knows so that you guys can also be proficient when it comes to what? When it comes to, of course, Advanced Excel. The timetable is as per what was shared. It is also going to be shared. Classes for Advanced Excel is supposed to start at 7, but will always be commencing between 7 to 7:15 in the evening. So you guys have a very good night. I'm sharing this document and thank you for attending the class. See you in our next segment. Bye bye. See you in our next class.